Monica adjusted the strap of her leather bag and stepped into the cool, conditioned air of the downtown bank. The marble floor gleamed under the fluorescent lights, and the quiet hum of computers mixed with the faint clinking of pens and keyboards. She smoothed the front of her navy blazer. It was one of her favorites, the kind that made her feel both grounded and powerful. Her appointment was scheduled for 10 o'clock sharp. She had confirmed it twice, first by email, then again over the phone that very morning. The receptionist looked up as Monica approached the counter. Her name tag read Jenna. "Good morning," Monica began with a polite smile. "I'm here to see Mr. Harris. We have an appointment for 10. The woman blinked, hesitated, then forced a small, professional smile. "Right, Mr. Harris." She glanced toward the manager's office, then back at Monica. "He's in a meeting right now. It shouldn't be long. Please, have a seat." Monica thanked her and walked over to the seating area, her heels clicking softly on the tile. She sat near the window, where she could watch the morning traffic drift by. She pulled out her tablet to review her presentation, detailed charts, growth projections, and a proposal for expanding her logistics firm. She'd worked for years to get here, and this meeting was supposed to be the final step before the bank's approval. 10 minutes passed, then 20, then 40. Monica's confidence didn't waver at first. Meetings ran late all the time. But after the first hour, she noticed a pattern. 2 older men in suits walked in and were escorted straight into Harris' office within minutes. A young couple with matching folders sat down after her, yet they were called in before she even had a chance to stretch her legs. She went back to the counter. "Excuse me," she said, keeping her voice polite but firm. "Could you please check if Mr. Harris is still in a meeting? My appointment was for 10. The receptionist blinked again, uncomfortable. "Yes, he's just finishing up. He'll be right with you." Monica nodded, suppressing the urge to sigh. She returned to her chair. Her tablet screen had gone black, reflecting her calm but tired expression. She caught sight of herself. The neatly braided hair, the crisp blazer, the subtle touch of gold at her ears, and thought of her grandmother, who used to say, "Never let them see you small." By the second hour, her coffee had gone cold. A man in a blue tie entered the lobby, loud and confident, and within seconds Mr. Harris himself stepped out of his office to shake the man's hand. Monica watched as the two laughed together, disappearing inside again. Not even a glance in her direction. She could feel eyes on her. The receptionists, a security guards, not hostile, but questioning, as if wondering why she was still there. She folded her hands in her lap, back straight. The waiting wasn't just an inconvenience anymore. It was a statement. Her phone buzzed. A text from her assistant. "Did the meeting start? Want me to call?" Monica typed back, "Not yet. Still waiting." Then she added, "Don't call. I'll handle it." She stood and approached the counter again, her voice quieter this time but edged with steel. "Can you please let Mr. Harris know I've been waiting 2 hours? If there's an issue, I'm happy to reschedule." The receptionist's cheeks colored. "I'll let him know." She disappeared behind the frosted glass door. Monica returned to her seat, heart steady but her patience thinning. She thought of the long nights she'd spent perfecting her business plan, the challenges she'd overcome, clients who doubted her, investors who underestimated her. Every time, she'd earned her place through preparation and composure. She wasn't about to lose that now. When the receptionist returned, she said, "He'll be with you soon," the same line as before, the same hollow smile. 3 hours had passed by the time Monica heard her name. "Miss Carter." The voice was clipped, rushed, Harris' voice. He stood in his doorway, gray suit pressed, expression unreadable. "Come in." Monica rose, gathering her folder and tablet. As she crossed the floor, she caught a glimpse of herself reflected in the glass, calm, dignified, unshaken. She had waited, yes, but she hadn't diminished. What she didn't know was that those 3 hours of waiting would soon turn into one of the most unforgettable moments of her career, one that would make the man before her question every assumption he had made in those quiet, dismissive glances. Mr. Harris' office was large but sterile, the kind of space that tried to look important yet felt cold. The walls were an even gray, broken only by framed certificates and a photo of a golf course. A faint scent of coffee and carpet cleaner hung in the air. Monica walked in, shoulders squared, every movement measured. Harris gestured toward a chair across from his desk without looking up from his papers. Let's make this quick, he muttered, flipping through a file that clearly wasn't hers. Monica sat, placing her folder neatly on the edge of the desk. Of course, she said evenly. I appreciate you fitting me in today. He finally looked up, his gaze sharp and impatient. You're Ms. Carter, right? You wanted to discuss a business loan. Yes, she replied. We submitted the proposal 2 weeks ago, along with the board's initial letter of approval. This meeting is for final signatures. Harris' brow furrowed slightly. He picked up a sheet of paper, scanned it half-heartedly, then leaned back in his chair. Right. Well, I haven't had time to go through all that yet, he said, his tone dismissive. These things can take a while. There are internal reviews, compliance checks. Monica kept her voice calm, though she felt her patience waver. Of course, but the board requested this be expedited. They've already approved the partnership and asked that I meet with you to finalize the paperwork. He smirked, the corner of his mouth curling slightly. They did. He said it as though he didn't believe her. Well, sometimes people hear what they want to hear. You know how these processes work, it's not personal. Monica met his eyes. I understand how they work, she said. I've been through enough to know exactly what's required. The board signed off last Friday. He leaned forward, elbows on the desk, fingers steepled. Look, Ms. Carter, I'm sure your business is doing fine, but banks have to be cautious. You're asking for a substantial amount. We need to be certain the operation is stable. Logistics can be risky. His tone softened only slightly, but there was an unmistakable layer of condescension underneath. Monica let him finish, then opened her folder, sliding a printed report across the desk. Here are the numbers for the last 4 fiscal years. We've doubled revenue every year since 2020. Debt ratio is under 15%. We're expanding into 2 more states next quarter. He barely glanced at the paper before setting it aside. That's great, he said, waving a hand dismissively. But growth can sometimes hide underlying weaknesses. I'd like to take a deeper look. Maybe we should reschedule when I have more time. Reschedule. After 3 hours of waiting. Monica inhaled slowly, keeping her voice even. Mr. Harris, with respect, I was told this would be the final meeting before disbursement. The board. He interrupted, laughing lightly, the sound grating. The board doesn't run the day-to-day here. I do. And I decide which cases move forward. He leaned back, crossing his arms. Now, I'm sure you've done well for yourself, but banks have to be realistic. We can't approve every ambitious proposal that lands on the desk. His words landed like a slap, not because of what he said, but how he said it. The implication was clear. Monica held his gaze, refusing to shrink. I'm not asking for a favor, she said quietly. I'm following a process that's already been approved. Something in her tone made him pause, but only for a second. He reached for his coffee, took a sip, and said, You'll have to give me time to review this properly. Maybe in a few weeks. Mr. Harris, Monica said, cutting in, her voice calm but sharp enough to make him look up. You've had the documents for 2 weeks. The compliance team signed off last Monday. The board members confirmed everything in writing. I'm simply here to finalize what they've already endorsed. He blinked, slightly thrown by her precision. You seem very confident, he said, attempting a smirk again. I am, she replied. Confidence is easier when the facts are on your side. For the first time, his expression faltered. He opened his mouth to reply, but the phone on his desk buzzed. He ignored it, eyes narrowing as if reassessing her. Then, leaning back, he said, Fine. Leave the file. I'll look at it and let you know. I have a lot on my plate today. Monica nodded, gathering her things slowly. Every instinct told her to stand up and leave, to walk out with her dignity intact, but something inside her, the part that had carried her through every boardroom, every deal, told her to hold her ground. As she rose, she met his eyes and said softly, I'll be interested to see what you decide after reviewing it. The board will be too. That made him pause again, just for a beat. But he quickly masked it with a tight smile. Of course, he said. We'll be in touch. Monica nodded, turned, and walked out. The glass door closed behind her with a faint hiss. In the reflection, she saw him watching her go, still smug, still unaware that his morning, and his assumptions, were about to change in ways he couldn't imagine. The sound of her heels echoed sharply against the marble floor as Monica stepped out of Harris' office. She felt the sting of the past 3 hours settle into her chest, a mix of anger and exhaustion that she refused to show. Her back was straight, her expression composed. The receptionist gave her a fleeting, uncertain smile as she passed. Monica returned it politely, though every fiber of her being wanted to exhale the frustration she had swallowed all morning. She was nearly at the exit when the glass doors swung open. A gust of air rushed in, carrying the scent of rain and expensive cologne. 3 people entered the lobby, 2 men and a woman, all dressed in sleek, dark suits that spoke of authority. Their presence changed the energy in the room instantly. Even the receptionist stood up a little straighter. "Ah, Monica," one of the men said warmly, his voice filling the quiet space. He was tall, silver-haired, with a confident stride. "We were hoping to run into you here." For a moment, the entire lobby froze. Harris, who had just stepped out of his office behind her, stopped mid-step. His face drained of color as his eyes darted from the board members to Monica. Monica turned toward them, her composure unshaken. "Mr. Lane," she greeted, shaking the silver-haired man's hand with calm professionalism. "I didn't expect to see you all today. We couldn't wait until next week's meeting," said the woman beside him, smiling warmly. "We wanted to congratulate you in person. The board was thrilled with your proposal. We're all excited about the partnership." Harris blinked, visibly trying to process what he was hearing. "Partnership," he repeated under his breath, the word sounding foreign in his mouth. "Yes, Mr. Lane said, turning to him. "I don't believe we've met formally. You must be Harris, the branch manager. Monica Carter is one of our new strategic partners. Her company will be working closely with the bank on the upcoming logistics expansion. She's done extraordinary work." The silence that followed was heavy. Harris' jaw worked soundlessly for a moment before he managed, "Oh, of course. Ms. Carter, I didn't realize." Monica turned to him with a polite smile that carried the weight of unspoken truth. "That's quite all right, Mr. Harris. I understand how easy it is to underestimate people when you're busy." There was a faint smile tugging at the corners of Mr. Lane's mouth. The woman beside him chuckled softly, glancing between them with clear amusement. "Well," she said, "I can see you two have already had a chance to connect." "Yes," Monica replied smoothly. "We had a very enlightening conversation." Harris tried to recover, adjusting his tie. "Ms. Carter, I must apologize if there was any confusion earlier. I wasn't fully briefed on." "No need to apologize," Monica said, her tone professional but cool. "I appreciate your time. I'm sure you have many responsibilities. I'm confident we'll move forward efficiently from here." The other board members exchanged subtle glances, ones that Harris didn't seem to notice but Monica did. They were watching him carefully now, taking in the discomfort in his voice, the flush creeping up his neck. Mr. Lane clapped a hand on Harris' shoulder. "I trust everything went smoothly this morning." Harris swallowed hard. Yes, of course. Just a bit of scheduling mix-up, but we'll get everything finalized." "Excellent," Lane said. "I'll expect your update this afternoon. Monica, shall we walk out together?" Monica nodded, turning back briefly to meet Harris' eyes one last time. His face was pale, his once condescending confidence replaced with something uncertain, almost apologetic. For a moment, she almost felt sorry for him, but then she remembered the 3 hours of waiting, the dismissive tone, the way he'd looked through her like she didn't belong in his office. As they stepped outside, the drizzle had turned to a steady rain. One of the board members opened an umbrella for her. "You handled that beautifully," the woman said softly. Monica smiled faintly. "I've learned that some lessons are best delivered by silence," she said. Lane laughed. "Well, whatever you did, it worked." He looked like he'd seen a ghost. Monica didn't reply. She simply looked up at the gray sky, feeling the tension of the morning dissolve with every drop of rain that hit the pavement. In her mind, she replayed the image of Harris' face, the slow realization, the color draining, the quiet panic behind his eyes. She hadn't needed to raise her voice or demand respect. The truth of who she was had done that for her. As the board member's car pulled up, she turned to Lane. "Thank you for coming," she said. "Thank you for reminding us why we made the right choice," he replied with a grin. Monica stepped into the car, closing the door gently. Through the rain-streaked window, she caught one last glimpse of the bank. Harris was standing just inside the glass doors, staring out, a small figure behind his polished world of marble and glass. For the first time that day, Monica allowed herself to smile, not out of triumph, but quiet satisfaction. Some justice didn't need to be loud. Sometimes, it arrived wearing confidence, patience, and a navy blazer, and left behind a manager who would think twice before ever underestimating someone again.